XRP is getting hot, leverage is skyrocketing to all-time highs, and the Federal Reserve just caught the market off guard. The head of the Securities and Exchange Commission is doing things that we never imagined we'd hear from those in Washington. This does not constitute financial advice. We should get started right immediately. At the moment, the value of XRP is $2.99, which is a 4% increase over the value it had the day before. Yes, XRP has been able to successfully push itself back up to a strong level after a week in which everything felt heavy and the market continued to screw with the feelings of investors. We conducted a test not so long ago that was close to $2.80, which shook off some weak hands. Currently, purchasers are intervening in order to safeguard this level. In contrast to XRP, which is relatively robust and currently in the lead, Bitcoin is barely up, Ethereum is flat, and Solana is experiencing some level of difficulty. These are incredibly significant pieces of information. Even though sellers are concerned about what the Federal Reserve and the Securities and Exchange Commission are saying, people are going back into this asset. A startling revelation was just issued by the Federal Reserve, which is causing institutions to shake. They have decided to discontinue their Novel Activities Supervision Program, which was designed to monitor financial institutions that were experimenting with Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and other facets of the financial technology industry. They are, on the other hand, reintroducing that control into the way that they typically carry out their duties as supervisors. What exactly does that say? The Federal Reserve has stated, "We have learned enough," to put it more succinctly. The phrase, "we can't continue to treat crypto as an alien threat," was used to indicate that they are normalizing the practice. That is a significant shift in the tone. Around this time last year, they were acting as if cryptocurrency was a time bomb. At this point, they are expressing their belief that, "We get it, we'll handle it like any other business." This allows objects to enter. The air is necessary for your growth. This is the kind of change that ultimately results in acceptance over the long run. It is true that we experience pullbacks. There are shakeouts. That much is certain. Numerous attempts have been made to provide support in the 280s, but customers have consistently shown their support for it. This is referred to as accumulation. Indeed, that is the case. As a result, the next breakout could be significantly larger than what many anticipate. Moreover, the market as a whole is providing us with suggestions. The volume of transactions that include leverage has skyrocketed. A record-breaking $119 billion was invested in leveraged and opposite exchange-traded funds, ETFs, in the United States during the month of July. Compared to the top that we seen in 2021 before the bear market began, this is approximately twice as high. Over the course of the past 3 years, the quantity of products of this kind has increased. Traders need to increase their profits as rapidly as possible. They are not satisfied with 5% each year, but rather demand 50% per week. That is the reason why these waves are so powerful here. When there is an excessive amount of debt in the market, those on the margins lose everything. Since positions are being sold off, prices are falling as a result. After each and every time, however, what does take place? Make a full recovery. And the assets that are now performing better, such as XRP, are the ones that are moving up first. This is the reason why I continue to concentrate. Days such as today are opportunities, not tragedies. When one takes a step back and examines the wider picture, one will notice that the rate of adoption is increasing, that the rules are shifting in our favor, and that organizations are discreetly preparing for the next advantage. The Federal Reserve is modifying its oversight of cryptocurrency. The responsibility of making the United States the center lies with the SEC. These occurrences are not bearish. Rather, they are fundamentally optimistic. Ethereum is another cryptocurrency that we must not overlook while all of this is going on. ETFs are gaining popularity, which has resulted in an increase in the amount of money that is pouring into ETH. Remember, however, that if an exchange-traded fund, ETF, for XRP ever comes out, it has the potential to fundamentally alter the game. Consider the possibility that institutional capital could have exposure to XRP in a manner that was not only legal, but also easy to manage. That is not merely a solitary spark, rather it is a river of demand that is prepared to be released. First, let's return to the charts, shall we? XRP was trading at approximately $2.80 earlier in the day. Because the buyer intervened and protected it, we are now heading up once again, all the way back to $3. The price is difficult to fall below $3.10 to $3.20. Assuming that we are able to break through that level with volume, we might be able to return to the $3.50 range on the subsequent leg higher. Although there is no such thing as a certain thing, the circumstances are favorable. In addition to the fact that buyers are active, there is clear support, and the major news is quietly optimistic. Words like the ones that Paul Atkins stated came from that office, and I never imagined that we would hear them. He stated, and I quote from memory, "The SEC is working across all of its divisions to make the United States the crypto capital of the world." Have that in mind. For a number of years, the SEC acted as a barrier. There have been lawsuits, delays, and other actions taken to enforce the statute. At this time, the head of the agency has stated that they are putting together resources in order to make the United States the victor. This is not a particularly brief piece of discourse. However, that is not merely a filler line. That is the path that the policy will take. The United States government is participating in the cryptocurrency revolution because they are aware that they are unable to stop it. The package is broken open. You are unable to close it again because no one else can see what is contained within it. Even so, the market experienced a decline as soon as the positive news was made public. This is the typical Friday prankster. It's what I refer to as Freaky Friday. Those who have been following cryptocurrency for a considerable amount of time are aware that Fridays have been a dreadful day for the past half a year. When options expire, traders adjust their holdings, and contracts worth billions of dollars come to an end. All of these take place simultaneously. Today saw the expiration of Bitcoin and Ethereum options with a combined value of about $6 billion. Therefore, there is a significant amount of instability. In this unstable environment, the smart money capitalizes on the situation. They first bring prices down, then hoard a large amount of cash, and then they allow the market to breathe again. It is for this reason that red candles appear on days when the news is particularly strong. Instead of being little players who are moving billions of dollars, institutions and whales are playing chess when they are involved. Now, however, let's take a step back. For the time being, let's return to XRP because the excitement is just getting started. The fact that the lights in the news don't correspond is one of the things that makes today so exciting. It was expected that after hearing the news, prices would have skyrocketed to unprecedented heights. It is a fact that those who make decisions about the market are working against it. The quantity of resistance and support, on the other hand, is quite significant for this reason. It informed us that customers were not finished as soon as the price remained at $2.80. Considering that it now costs $2.99, we are once again in the game. So, here's the deal, shall we? When XRP exhibits a relatively robust behavior on a day when the cryptocurrency market as a whole is experiencing instability, this indicates that something is taking place beneath the surface. To a large extent, it resembles a coil spring. Once support is broken, the breakout will be more powerful if we maintain these higher levels for a longer period of time and buyers defend drops into the $2.80 range more frequently. In this manner, the market operates. Consolidation is the path to expansion. Now, there are a great number of merchants who are unable to wait. In the moment, they are looking for fireworks, instant gratification, and immediate gains of 10 times. On the other hand, the majority of the time, significant changes take place after weeks of pressure that does not vary. To put it another way, it is where the money that is wise is placed. Here is where things typically become difficult in the retail industry. It is important to keep in mind how quickly XRP can move after it has begun to move. Before we have witnessed it, there will be instances in which the difference between $2.99 and $5 will be a possibility. An additional issue that is of great significance is the current state of the stock market. A great deal of pressure has been placed on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ in addition to the cryptocurrency market. There is a significant shift occurring in risk assets. As a result of the enormous gains that were made earlier in the year, the stock market is currently taking a break in order to digest those gains, and this pause naturally has an effect on cryptocurrency. However, this is the most significant aspect. According to what we have observed in the past, when normal markets cease to move, money frequently moves back into cryptocurrency. How come? Because here is the best place for growth. There is no other place. When the stock market is not moving, financial institutions are unable to achieve the desired level of yield and gain. It is possible that the shift impact will be one of the significant events that take place in the months to come. The picture as a whole is also very essential. People's emotions are influenced by a variety of factors, including inflation, interest rates, and job numbers. The most recent Consumer Price Index, CPI, and Producer Price Index, PPI statistics caused traders to panic because they believed the Federal Reserve would maintain its tight monetary policy for a longer period of time. And then, out of the blue, the Federal Reserve decides to terminate its unique program to monitor cryptocurrency. Consequently, this indicates that they are not only monitoring inflation, but also keeping an eye on fresh ideas. They do not want the United States to stay behind. It also makes perfect sense that the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has stated that they are exerting a lot of effort to make the United States the heart of the cryptocurrency industry. It would appear that the pieces are being set in place for a much larger game than just the daily price adjustments for the stock market. Also, let's have another conversation about leverage. When it comes to items that generate instability, this is one of the most overlooked factors. All permanent futures markets are currently experiencing a significant amount of open interest in cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies. There is an excessive amount of debt held by traders, which indicates that bankruptcy cascades will occur. But let me explain why that will be beneficial for XRP in the long run. When those waves eliminate weak positions, powerful hands take advantage of the opportunity to purchase the asset at a higher price. As a result, the foundation for the subsequent move up is strengthened. We are in a loop. Let off of the pressure, keep your grip, and then immediately run. During this cycle, XRP is now in a very favorable position. The narrative surrounding exchange-traded funds, ETFs, is always evolving. There are a lot of individuals who are aware of exchange-traded funds, ETFs, regarding Bitcoin, and Ethereum ETFs are gaining popularity, but an XRP ETF would entirely change the game. Consider how much demand there will be for XRP once companies, retirement plans, and financial advisors are able to readily invest money in it in the same way that they do with SPY or QQQ. That is a tremendous amount of money that is approaching. The fact that the rules are being altered in a manner that makes this more possible than it has ever been is a crucial point to keep in mind. The head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, is now speaking positively about cryptocurrency, which is causing this world to change. Adoption is yet another trend that should be monitored closely. Ripple has been establishing relationships with financial institutions, central banks, and money transfer companies all across the world, including organizations that are located outside of the United States. Although these transactions might not often make headlines, they do, in fact, pave the way for beneficial events to take place in the actual world. And what builds value over the long term is the usefulness of anything in the real world. It is possible for an asset's floor to increase when it is utilized not only for trading, but also for the movement of money, the settlement of trades, and the connection of various currencies. Following that, it will no longer be only another currency. Rather, it will be fundamental infrastructure. My advice is to avoid getting lost in all of the red candles because of this. Move back a little bit. Take a look at the more comprehensive perspective. Not only is it bending, but it is not breaking down. With all of their power, regulators used to struggle against this space, but now they are getting ready to accept it altogether. Changing things is the Federal Reserve. The SEC is undergoing several changes. The cryptocurrency known as XRP is situated in the middle of everything since it is both technically robust and holds a unique position within the ecosystem. During the next several days, when we examine these charts, it is important to keep a close eye on the region that lies between $3.10 and $3.20. The fight is going to take place there. If XRP is able to maintain its current trajectory, it will be simple to reach $3.50 or much higher. It is hardly a cause for concern if we get a flush lower first. Simply put, that is the release of pressure here. Always keep in mind that growth is the result of building up. The fluctuation of prices is not the only thing that we are observing at the moment. It has a significant impact on the spot that cryptocurrency holds in the global banking system.